normal people become terrified of criminals.
Shots were just fired. Police just came out and told us, and we're headed there right now.
They become terrified of their own government.
We have this story from Newsmax, one of the most important stories, and I don't know, I got to make some phone calls to make this happen. BitChute calls on Rep. Jordan to investigate Parler deplatforming. Now, this is explosive stuff. BitChute, a video hosting social media platform, is calling on Jim Jordan to investigate the deplatforming of Parler, another social media website popular with conservatives, as part of his House panel on government weaponization. In a letter to Jordan, BitChute's chief policy officer and former Parler chief policy officer Amy Pykoff wrote that Parler was likely deplatformed via the same sort of coordinated effort that were alleged in the Select Subcommittee on Weaponization of the federal government's recent report on the censorship industrial complex. This is explosive and is so far an allegation, but I believe it is fair to say that the probability lies in them being correct. Why did Parler get unilaterally removed instantly from all these companies, smeared by the media instantly, all at the exact same time, and it was all fake news? They argued that Parler needed to be removed because January 6ers were using it to coordinate, despite the fact they actually used Facebook, and despite the fact the new evidence that's emerged shows the police were widely facilitating what was happening. It stands to reason that the U.S. government was threatened by the fact that large amounts of political individuals in the United States were leaving Twitter for a rival platform for which they had no control. And we now know, thanks to Elon Musk, whose purchase of Twitter is one of the greatest acts of heroism, shout out Elon Musk, because we're learning this. And when he leaked the emails revealing that Twitter, with its left bias, was heavily influenced specifically by the U.S. intelligence agencies, I would be willing to bet large sums of money Parler was removed. Alex Jones was banned because of government intervention. And I say this as someone who has proven definitively right now the U.S. government colluded to censor me personally. We're seeing this. I would like to see Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz, and anyone else. I want to see the documents relating to Parler, because I'm willing to bet we are going to see something like an email that goes, we're really concerned about Parler. And hey, Apple, by the way, you do know that facilitating terrorism is a crime in this country, right? Exactly. And January 6th was an insurrection. They used Parler. Heaven forbid we accuse you of aiding and abetting terrorism.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, Parler's gone.
Well, and keep in mind, too, that the reason Parler got taken down was because Amazon Web Services shut them down. And I think that they've got a lot of government contracts. They've benefited a lot.
It was pulled from the App Store.
Well, that as well.
Right.
That as well. But I'm saying that they had to actually migrate their servers because AWS stopped doing business with them because of the allegations that were fraudulent from the federal government. The federal government has demonstrated time and time again that they have their tendrils into every social media network of any magnitude whatsoever. And Parler came about, kind of had this fast rise that looked like it might actually be a competitor for Twitter or something else. And they were like, can't have that. We have fought long and hard to get our hands of the FBI, the CIA, DHS, everybody else into Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, across the board. And they're like, we can't have you guys having another outlet. Sorry. So we're going to make it go away. And people think that, like, this is where I get pissed, is that instead of us just talking about that, like, I appreciate Tim's anger about this because we ought to be furious. Do we know what we're actually talking about? This is the land of the free, right? This is America, right? And we just accept the fact that every single thing we do on the internet is spied on by the federal government. You know, when I was growing up, that would have been laughable. And we would have never even considered it a possibility. Now it's a given. Think about how far, I almost cussed, how far we've transitioned, if you will.
Remember when that there DNI guy lied to Congress about spying on the American people?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
Was it Clapper?
Yeah, it was James Clapper. With anger, I kind of feel like Art of War style, when you're angry, don't show it thing, because I'm beyond like enraged about the last 7 years, but I'm acting like I'm just this happy-go-lucky guy because I really want to change it.
Yeah, me too.
And if you get angry, you become a target. So I don't know
I'm okay with being a target because I want people to know that they're not alone in their exasperation. Like I'm so exhausted by the tyranny that we languish under, and there's a lot of people out there that just accept it. They just go like, it is what it is. I reject that wholeheartedly. It is not necessary that we suffer this forever. We are, I don't go much into birthright type of stuff, But if there is a birthright of every American, it is that we can speak freely, we can defend ourselves. You know, there's a handful of like really sacrosanct type of beliefs and ideals that we uphold. And it seems like very few people take that seriously. They look at their politicians that are constantly infringing upon them and they accept it. They just go, it is what it is, Clint. You know, it's tyranny. That's where we're at. That's not okay. We can't live like that. If you expect the America that we knew and loved to actually sustain itself, to be there 10, 20, 30 years from now, we have to actually vocalize our anger towards the system and actually demand that it change. And I appreciate your kind of, Buddhist outlook on it, but I really think that there needs to be some anger demonstrated, even if it puts the sights on me. I just don't care. I don't.
It may be that it's unstoppable. The corruption is unstoppable, that we need to build systems that can't be tampered with. Like Parler should have been a system that couldn't be taken down, like a decentralized web network, that like a mesh network or something where the government's like, how do we hit this whack-a-mole thing? It's unstoppable.
I'm sure could they do it over, they would have done so. But the truth is they're gone. Parler's basically gone at this point, because like in the rise of a social media, this is what's so nefarious about it. In the rise of a social media network, there's the exponential growth phase that you have to hit if you're going to succeed. And if you don't hit it, or if you're derailed mid that that exponential rise, you're toast. So all the federal government has to do from here on out, like exactly what they're doing with TikTok, threatening that they're going to ban TikTok. I'm not a fan of TikTok. That's not the point. You give them that precedent. You allow them to just shut down one of the most successful social media apps of all time, maybe the most successful. And what do you think they're going to do from there? Well, all of a sudden, Elon Musk acquires Twitter. Got to ban that, right? Because we already have the precedent. He's allowing some sort of CCP propaganda to be pushed.
Do you think on a long time frame, 100, 200 years, do you think that there is the possibility that we're going to not have constant monitoring and constant, the government or maybe not even just the government, but constant overwatch from a large entity? Because I know that there's a lot of people that now are speaking very, we can't let this happen and blah, 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 etc. Because this is still new stuff, I don't think in 2 generations anyone's going to even think about not being monitored all the time. Well, because I don't think the option, I think that there are teenagers now that just accept it as part of reality.
Of course.
Like it's a part of it's a part of living in modern society. And I don't see how that's going to be, I don't see the off ramp. I don't see how we convince people that the convenience is not worth it, because that's really what it's about.
Oftentimes the pendulum doesn't swing back until the pain is great enough, right? And I feel like the reason I'm so loud about this stuff is that you're right, Phil, that like the vast majority of young people,
because we've got forever, like it just barring some kind of like extinction event, it's this problem never goes away for the rest of the time that there are human beings.
Well, the surveillance capacity never goes away, but that doesn't mean that you can't have rules and regulations that apply to the government as far as what they're allowed to do and what criminal punishment they have to pay if they violate those.
I don't see how we get any kind of rules or regulations.
It's going to happen in some countries. It's just like, do you want it to be here?
No, I don't.
You don't think it'll happen anywhere on Earth?
I don't think that there's going to be. I don't think that there's any society that currently has the ability to force their government to do anything anymore.
Damn, that's dark.
You got to build it.
Wait till the AI takes over.
I know. That's honestly, I mean, we've had this conversation, Tim. Like, once you get, chips that are implanted in most people's brains. And again, these are problems that don't go away. This isn't like, oh, we'll solve it this generation, and then we don't have to worry about it in the next generation or the following generation or 3 generations down. Once this genie is let out of the bottle, it is something that for as long as there is industrialized modern society, this problem does not go away.
I see like the law evolving to computer software code. So like instead of having a law on a paper somewhere and like I hope we're all abiding by that thing, it's actually part of the structure of our ability to communicate. The laws are written into the way things work. So there's no ability for a government or foreign entity to violate the law or the code of the system.
You're neglecting pirates. You're neglecting to think about real meat machines that don't want.
It's kind of like saying like, hey, send me an ice cream cone on Twitter. You can't, because it can only send certain types of things because the code is such that only certain types of things can be transmitted. So if that's your system, you can like, observing from the outside isn't part of that code system.
Considering the conversation that we've had so far tonight, talking about what was done to Parler, what makes you think that will ever be a possibility? What benefit? Why would the people that currently control the levers of power, why would they allow that?
Yeah, they would.
Because right now, I think that there's the people that the powers that be have enough control where I think it's already too late.
I think you could still build it using like blockchain technology and have decentralized.
Yeah, I think that it would take the will. I think that people don't have the will to push back against it because
that's what I'm working on. I'm trying to build that will, brother.
Modern society is so convenient.
Yeah.
Your average kids don't know what they like. That we see TikToks and we make jokes about TikToks all the time of kids that don't have any idea how society works.
Gen Z, 2021, 80% supporting same-sex marriage. 2023, 65%. I'm not making a moral statement. Right. I'm saying opinions shift dramatically and things could change. Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.